Hello everyone and welcome to another Top 5 Records video, another one in the series in which I'm taking a closer look at the full body of work of Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. Awaiting the release of their new album, Wild God, I'm taking a look at their full discography. And in this video today, I have arrived in 1997 with the album The Boatman's Call. This is one of the albums that I put in my list of top 5 Nick Cave albums. But after I've done this entire series, I'm gonna do a ranking video. So I'm gonna find out if it's still in the top 5 after this month in a new video. But needless to say, this is among one of my favorite Nick Cave albums. Let's start with the beautiful packaging. I mean, on this record, Nick Cave leans toward a new naked openness. And who else to ask for the artwork for the cover than Anton Corbijn, the famous Dutch photographer who also worked with U2, loads of artists actually. He has a certain way of getting somewhat a naked truth of an artist in a picture, and that is where the Boatman's Call starts. This picture. I mean, he doesn't look really good, but he does look sincere. Um, well, he wasn't feeling too well because I believe this was the final album that he recorded in his heroin addiction. After this, in I believe 1999 or 2000, he went through a very heavy kick-off period. Then I do not know if it ever came back or how often he's been struggling afterwards, because addictions can be very tough in that regard. But looking at the front cover, looking at the picture on the back in a cinema with the beautiful grain, packaging and artwork is just part of the deal of a record. Here, inner sleeve with the lyrics. I love that because the lyrics are so incredible with a Nick Cave album. And that brings me actually to the first song of this album, Into My Arms. It has been in my head all week now. And that's a very interesting element. That song has so many layers. And I was seeing it 2 days ago while I was working. And then the cameraman and screenwriter I was working with, because I work in film, the cameraman and screenwriter I was working with, he said, and he's not so much interested in music. He's interested in storytelling. His main focus is how do you tell a story. And he says, "Into my arms." He says, I mean, the first line is the most brilliant way to start a song. And I said, "Why do you think that?" He says, "Well, to start off a song with, I don't believe in an interventionist God." I hope I pronounced that right. I'm gonna double check it though. I don't believe in an interventionist God. Yeah, I pronounced it right. But I know, darling, that you do. But if I did, I would kneel down and ask him. Well, I said, "Why do you think that's such a brilliant line?" He says, "Well, then you could introduce God as a character without having to be religious. So you can make a song where God plays a part, is a character, but the song does not have to have a religious origin or appeal to religion, though having God in there can appeal to religion." Also, he said, it's the same thing with the Amadeus motion picture. The main character, Salieri, um, he gets he feels envious towards Mozart and Mozart's talents and Mozart's success. So who is Salieri in conflict with Mozart because he admires talent? No. No, that film makes the main villain for Salieri God. So without having the audience be religious or assuming that God is of an importance to the to or a non-importance to atheists, you can have him there, and he can be a character out there you can talk to, you can be in conflict with, but it's mostly about an inner conflict for the atheists. For religious people, it can be God. So that's the brilliance of starting off with the sentence, I don't believe in an interventionist God. And I think that what that colleague of mine, the screenwriter there, the cinematographer there, said is what Nick Cave very often does um, with God in his songs. I believe he even has this quote in an interview in which he said, I believe in God despite religion." Then it might be more of a personal belief than a songwriting skill, but it does, um, nevertheless, it is creative and brilliant songwriting, storytelling. Then also Into My Arms, for anyone who thinks it's a love song in which God is involved, well, it might be a love song, but it is written in a period of heavy heroin addiction. And it's not a loved one holding in the arms, it's a needle in the arm. Now, there you have so many layers and brilliant introduction of God, which is useful for the rest of the album because there is an element of him in there. There's an element of, I wouldn't say prayer, but a conversation with what Nick Cave describes as God. You see that also in the song "People Ain't No Good." "People Ain't No Good." Isn't that a? Um, I'm not sure if he has already drawn the conclusion. It's as if he is saddened by and trying to get to a better understanding of the nature of people, um, why they are the way they are. It isn't in their hearts they're bad. He's trying to analyze it. He's trying to also get emotionally hold of it, and it might be an inner dialogue. It might be a dialogue with God. It might be both of them at the same time, because in narratives, God can be a thing at the same time. And that makes this, for those dialogues, those murmurings, those this is a break with the songs in which there's clearly a narrative about a certain character. This is a much more personal, naked approach and more personal struggle lyrically and also musically, because gone is the chaos, gone is the post-punk. Here you hear piano and vocal driven music, very intimate, drum for the rhythm, and obviously other instruments. And most notably for me, this is for me the most notable moment. Warren Ellis gets in there and he uses, for example, violins to create sceneries, emotional sceneries surrounding the piano driven and vocal driven songs. It's gorgeous. A song like Idiot Prayer. There are so many great moments here. This is of such impeccable songwriting skill. It's a masterpiece. It is a masterpiece. So I'm curious, what do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Leave a comment below and I'll see you in my next video.